when the Miami sun dipped behind the skyline, throwing golden reflections off the carbon fiber curves of Formula One machinery, it wasn't Max Verstappen who walked away with the headlines, nor was it Lando Norris, last year's fiery challenger. Instead, a quiet Australian named Oscar Piastri etched his name across the paddock like a whisper turning into a roar. No drama, no trash talk, just sheer precision and the kind of icy calm that you don't teach you inherit. 3 consecutive Grand Prix victories Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and Miami have catapulted Piastri to the top of the 2025 driver standings. And now, after just 6 rounds, whispers are growing louder across team motorhomes and garage walls. He's the next Max. But that comparison doesn't come just from his lap times. There's something almost eerie about the way Oscar handled Verstappen on the track in Miami. While Norris initially lost time to the pole sitter Max, Piastri closed the gap with a calculated coolness, waited, then struck. It was surgical. No panic, no ego, just cold-blooded intent. Oscar is the next Max. He's learned from Max, said veteran French journalist Fred Ferret on the F1 Nation podcast. The way he passed Max was totally different than what he did in Jeddah. It was bolder, doing it twice both brilliant. It's the kind of move that isn't about sheer speed, it's about presence. Psychological warfare at 200 miles per hour, a bluff at the braking zone, letting Max go deep, then cutting back with surgeon-like finesse. As Laura Winter put it, he's got a champion's mindset, breaking down everything that happened and building from it. That little bluff he pulled on Max, just exquisite. Piastri's emergence didn't happen in a vacuum. Behind him stands Mark Webber, former F1 driver and no stranger to team politics, especially the kind that once swirled through Red Bull like wildfire. But Webber isn't just a manager, he's a quiet architect, building a driver not just for speed, but for domination. You can't overstate Mark Webber's influence, said Tom Clarkson. He's been through it all, and now he's passing that on to Oscar. Webber's mentorship is stealthy. Even Piastri's inner circle is physio. His crew barely speak more than a syllable at a time. It's like they've built a secret language of silence, a fortress of mental clarity. If you're Lando Norris, that might not be so funny, Clarkson added with a half laugh, half warning. Because in F1, silence isn't weakness, it's a weapon. Then there's Lando, the face of British motorsport's new generation. Always smiling, always charming. But what happens when that smile starts to fade? Last year, Norris came within reach of challenging Verstappen for the crown. He was McLaren's undisputed leader, the golden boy. But this season, the numbers don't lie. Piastri leads him by 9 points. And here's the cultural rub. McLaren, long a bastion of egalitarian racing values, refused to declare a number 1 driver even when Lando was going toe-to-toe with Red Bull. But how long can they hold that line? 3 straight wins. Rising mental dominance. Piastri isn't just fast, he's evolving. The question isn't whether McLaren wants to pick a number 1, it's whether they have a choice anymore. Meanwhile, Verstappen finds himself in unfamiliar territory. He's not being outpaced so much as outmaneuvered. The Red Bull RB21 may still be fast, but it's no longer bulletproof. And Max has started to face a threat he's never quite seen before, a younger, quieter, and perhaps more strategic version of himself. Verstappen's style is raw aggression, forged from karting battles and years of elbows-out racing. Piastri's is chess-like, unfolding with the patience of a grandmaster who knows he can see 4 moves ahead. This isn't Max versus Lewis. This is Max versus Max 2.0. The next stop is a Grand Prix of Emilia-Romagna at the historic Imola circuit. It's hallowed ground where names like Senna, Schumacher, and Prost echo in the misty trees. And now, perhaps, a new era takes its first true shape. Can Piastri maintain his quiet grip on the season? Will Norris bite back, shedding his nice guy image to reclaim the mantle of McLaren's alpha? Or will Verstappen unleash a fury that reminds the world why he's still the benchmark? These are more than races now. They're chapters in a psychological thriller unfolding across the world's fastest theaters. Because in the end, Formula One isn't just about engines and aerodynamics. It's about minds, about culture, about character forged under pressure, and destiny claimed at 200 miles an hour. And in 2025, the man who might shape the next generation doesn't shout his ambition. He just wins. In the high-octane world of Formula One, greatness is often debated over espresso shots in Milan cafes or across digital threads buzzing from London to Tokyo. But when Red Bull team principal Christian Horner spoke recently, the debate over who was the greatest driver to ever wear the team's colors may have been decisively settled, at least in the eyes of the man who's seen it all from the pit wall. According to Horner, Max Verstappen is not just a generational talent. He is a talent, the finest driver to ever race for Red Bull Racing, eclipsing even the legendary Sebastian Vettel. We've had some incredibly gifted drivers in our garage, Horner told the BBC in a candid interview. Of course, Sebastian Vettel is a four-time world champion and helped define Red Bull's first golden era. But Max has taken things to another level. The Dutch prodigy, who exploded onto the Formula One scene in 2015 as a fearless 17-year-old and the youngest driver ever to start a Grand Prix, has since redefined what consistency and dominance look like in the modern hybrid era. Now 27, Verstappen holds for consecutive world championships, 2021 to 2024, tying with the likes of Vettel and Alain Prost, and placing him within whispering distance of Schumacher and Hamilton's legendary tallies. To Horner, Verstappen's brilliance is not just about numbers. It's about how he drives. Watching Max in the car is like watching Roger Federer at his peak. Swinging the racket with elegance and lethal precision, Horner said, "There's a poetry to how he drives, his timing, his accuracy, his feel for the car. Especially in sectors like the first one in Jeddah, it's just sublime. You see a driver completely in sync with the machine beneath him. That comparison to Federer isn't thrown around lightly. Federer wasn't just dominant. He made dominance look effortless. And in much the same way, Verstappen's command of an F1 car has evolved beyond raw pace into a mature, calculated mastery of the sport's psychological and strategic nuances. Sebastian Vettel, of course, remains an icon in Red Bull's history books. Between 2010 and 2013, the German driver led the Milton Keynes-based squad through its first dynasty, claiming 4 drivers' championships and as many constructors' titles in succession. His boyish charm and ruthless speed built a foundation on which Red Bull's modern empire now rests. But where Vettel once ruled with audacity and a keen sense of timing, Verstappen has added layers of adaptability, calm under pressure, and an unshakable belief in his own ceiling. He doesn't just fight for wins. He makes domination look routine. Still, Horner recognizes a difficulty in comparing drivers across vastly different eras in a sport that evolves with each passing year, from tire compounds to steering wheels to team philosophies. It's always hard to compare, he admitted. Different cars, different rules, different rivals. But Max is absolutely the greatest on the grid right now, no question. And he now belongs in the same sentence as the greatest names the sport has ever seen. Statistically, Verstappen is well on his way to etching his name into F1's Grand Hall of Legends. As of the end of the 2024 season, he's accumulated 64 Grand Prix victories, 115 podiums, and 43 pole positions, all in just over a decade of racing. That puts him ahead of Vettel in race wins. Vettel had 53. And just a handful behind in poles, Vettel has 57. Of the pantheon of multi-title champions, only Schumacher, 7 titles, Hamilton 7, and Fangio 5, have more championships than Verstappen, and at 27, he still has years ahead of him. Assuming he stays motivated, healthy, and Red Bull continues providing him with a competitive car, Verstappen could very well rewrite the record books.